Are you buying it that that's my voice? Like that I can somehow sound like a flute? I hope you're not buying it, because it's not. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, or whatever it is for you. I'm just doing a little... I wish I could do it without looking at it. I'm going to do it without looking at it as much as I can. This is a little fun test I'm doing with myself. I just failed the test. All I'm doing is joining you in the broadcast. Hello, Sarah and Dawn, who are, according to my information, watching me. And Marion is watching as well. Looks like some people got some notifications, which is the first thing I'm going to talk about. Okay, now look. This is an interactive program, and it's about answering your Law of Attraction questions. Therefore, if you have Law of Attraction questions, feel free to ask them here in the comments. We have folks watching. They could be all over the place right now. I don't know. But here's the deal. When you see me go like this, that means I'm looking to see if you have comments or questions. So I'm not being rude or being distracted by, you know, a video or something on my Facebook feed. Well, I guess kind of. It is my Facebook feed. But see, this is where I see Marion and Genevieve and Sarah and Marion all leaving little comments. So that's how that works. So I'll be checking in on your questions. But generally when I do this, I start with something that I have to say. Yeah, you don't have to sit there and listen to me talk about stuff. You can go ahead and ask questions, and I will prioritize your questions when they come through and try and stay on point. But there's a basic conversation I'd really like to have with you today about this very thing we're talking about, which is, of course, the Law of Attraction. Because I think that there is a basic inherent problem that is causing people to have issues with it. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Doesn't that sound fun? So now's the time to tell everybody, you know, hit that share button and go, oh my God, if you've ever wondered what this Law of Attraction thing really is, now's the time. He didn't tell us he was going to do this, but now he's dropping this LOA bomb on us. He's going to clear it all up for us. He's going to give us a new paradigm through which to see what the Law of Attraction is, so that maybe we can get rid of some of the magical thinking or some of the other stuff that we've got in our head. Don't you want to know that you somehow contributed to that knowledge being imparted into others? How would you feel about yourself? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You could feel so good about yourself. Now look, maybe you wanna watch it live first. You know, assess, is this worth sharing with people? Okay, fine. If you just want to be greedy and keep it all to yourself. See how the lines have definitely blurred between the Law of Attraction Q&A and the Bob Doyle Show? The Bob Doyle Show host is showing up here more and more. But look, we have fun here. But I am committed to you getting the most out of our time together. That's why I say, go ahead and ask questions. Thank you for sharing, Marion. Look at now see, here's a team player. I shared before you even started talking. Isn't that nice? So here's before I get into this little content, and then of course your questions, I do want to say about notification, and when you want to know how, if you don't want to miss this, because who would, right? I have made it so super easy for you in the description of this video, this very video you're watching. There's a link, and it says something along the lines of LOA Notify, bobdoyleshow.com/LOA Notify. If you click that link, if you were to click that link right now, do you know what would happen? I'll tell you what will happen. In your Facebook Messenger, yes, you got to be doing this through Facebook for this to work, you're going to get a little message from me. Well, the robot me. And it's going to say, hey, do you want to be reminded about this? And there's going to be a little button in that says, yes, remind me. So you don't type yes. You don't say, sure thing, Bob. You don't have to type anything. You just click the button that says, yes, remind me. And then, lo and behold, from now on, when we go live, the moment we go live, Facebook is going to whisper in your ear and say, psst, hey, remember that Law of Attraction Q&A thing that you wanted to be? It's happening right now. Okay. So do that if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. And then, of course, you can share that. You can also, while you're sharing, you may as well share that part too. Oh, by the way. And think about, are you parts of groups? Are you parts of huge groups who talk about the law of attraction? Maybe you've never made the connection to say, hey, you know, one of the guys from The Secret does this free stuff all the time. He's got a whole podcast that you could download. Did you know that? I think it's Bob Doyle, LOApodcast.com. And what that podcast is basically the audio of these Q&As. Lots of content waiting for you. Okay. Thank you, Natty. I have to, of course, share her comment because, you know. See, I'm holding this freeze frame right now so anyone can do a screen grab so they can look at my hair and the comment at the same time. Okay, I really got to get into this. Now I'm just being borderline silly and useless. I want to talk about the law of attraction. I want to set a different. I want you to right now, if you can, if it's at all possible, just for a moment, forget everything you know about the law of attraction. Forget about what you think it is. Forget about what you know it is. Forget about any of it, if you can. I mean, you can get all that back, okay? It's not like you're going to forget about it permanently. I'm just saying for a minute. I want to set a clean I want to set a clean slate. You're going to have to take a journey with me, which means you're going to have to follow along. Hi, Misty Lee. It's nice to have you back. You're going to have to follow along because it's a stream of consciousness, sort of, that we're going to be swimming down. All right, so here we go. Again, forget everything you know about the law of attraction. Get out of any definition that you've heard. Anything that you get it out of the personal development space. Get it out of a tool or technique. Forget all of that. Don't even try to think about what it is right now. Okay. Now, okay. Now it'll be interesting where, as we go along this journey, I start to lose you. So. And this, I seriously want this feedback, and I will look at it later. So as I go through this logical progression, if there's a point where you go, that's where I'm losing it, that's going to be helpful to me. So tell me, and then I can focus on that at a later time. Everybody on board with that we're all energy, that everything in the universe is energy, is everybody on board with that? Good, because otherwise, what are we even talking about? Now, we as humans, right, also energy. Are you with me so far? Okay. Now, we know that as humans, this particular configuration of energy is showing up as what we call our body, and it's got physicality to it, right? But it's all energy, right? I still got that, right? It's still all energy. So part of our being human is our senses, right? The five that we talk about all the time, and of course we all know that there's, well, maybe I can't say we all know, but many of us know there are many other senses that we don't have labels on because they're not in the physical world, and therefore science can't point to them. But we've got our touch and our taste and our smell and our hearing and our sight. I think I did that right. And those senses allow us to experience this ocean of energy. Okay, so now we need to pause here and just get this for a second. We are a cluster of energy that has taken the configuration of this human body, which is a miraculous thing with the brain and all that it does, and the heart and the systems that make it happen, that give us this experience of being able to interpret this ocean of energy exactly the way that we're interpreting it. But here's the thing. Where does reality get created? Where does our reality get created? It happens when we interpret, right? It happens when our senses, we have our senses that are interpreting hot, cold, hard, soft, you know, I like this smell, this. But then we've got all this other stuff that's going on inside that is putting meaning to all of it. We are making all meaning. It all is self-generated. Can you get that? Every single thing, every moment of our experience is our senses interpreting energy, both at that physical level, but also at an unseen, emotional, subconscious, all these connections that are being made that we're not. Is everybody with me on that? One moment. So, you literally are creating your experience of reality. You don't forget law of attraction, woo-woo, forget anything. For just the science. Our brain is taking information and we make it mean stuff. And the meaning that we give it comes from outside sources. We learn values, we learn what's right, what's wrong, what's hard, what's easy, what's big, what's small, what's wealthy, what's poverty. We learn all of these things, and so then we create it guides how we interpret this ocean of energy for our life, and we say this is reality. But the person right next to you may share some similarities, but has an entirely different experience of reality. Everybody with me? Our realities are created. It's so crazy how they're related, how they're created. A person at some point in your life can outright lie to you, willingly, knowingly tell you a lie. But because of who you are and what the relationship is, you believe it. And that is reality for you, and it's unshakable. No one's going to tell you different, and no one's going to, because for you it's like, what are you talking? It's duh. It's reality. It's yours, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody's is different. They share similarities, but we only know this because we're communicating with each other and sharing thoughts through this experience of physicality. That's a whole other level of craziness to go on. Hi, Carrie Ann. Lots of people in here. Good. So we haven't even gotten to attraction or vibration or any of that. And we're already into, if you followed me so far, you've got to be able to own that you are creating your reality. Now, it doesn't happen consciously most of the time, because all of this interpretation is just on autopilot. And that's why it feels absolutely real, like, no, this is what, and guys, you look, just, if nothing else proves my point, just here in America, when we went through that whole, election thing, and people, we really got different, we got to see just how much we do not share the same realities with people. Like, we are 100% sure of this. It's a true, but this other person suddenly has shown that they are 100% committed to a completely different truth, and you thought you knew this person. And you're going, how? How can this happen? And they're looking at you going, how? How can this happen? Because that's how the construction of our reality works. So if we want our reality to change, we have to change our interpretation. Again, we're just shy of even having the conversation about vibration and energy and attraction and anything woo-woo. This is all logical, right? I'm going to jump to this question real quick that Nahar has asked, how to attract $1 billion. Before I would even begin to answer that question, I would be, if I'm any sort of a coach, I'm going to ask you, why? What is driving you? Because the straight up answer is, you need to move into vibrational alignment with having $1 billion. But for you to do that, there's probably a good bit of emotional and vibrational shifting that has to take place, belief systems that have to be dealt with. You got energy around not having $1 billion right now, and to get from there to there, there's some work to do, and it's not just a magical vision board thing. You need to start to be able to take the action that you would need to take in order to generate or attract $1 billion. You're going to need to start interpreting your reality differently. Period. You can no longer interpret this thing as a meaning that lack is a part of you, who you are, or that it has to be hard. You have to start changing your interpretations. Because you're not, if you interpret something in a limiting way, well, you're just not going to take action. And Misty points out that law of attraction is so much more than money, but I mean it's still valid to want to know how to attract money, you know, and all of that. But at the core, it's no different than anything else, right? But before, again, I just want to back up and make sure that everybody is just clear just how much you are creating your experience of reality, whether you like it or not. And your interpretations, the things that upset you, all of those things, guess what? Those are choices and decisions you've made along your lifetime based on the beliefs and based on input and based on things that are unconscious. I'm going to get upset about this. This thing is going to upset me. This thing is going to make me feel limited. This thing's going to make me feel useless. All of this input. But it's all a choice. You can change that. You can make a decision that I don't have to respond that way anymore. But you've got to give yourself a good reason. Why am I going to change that? Because your identity has become that. You have to change. You're going to have to change the basic piece of your identity. When you do all of that stuff, you don't have to know about how the law of attraction works anymore. And that's my point. When you can start interpreting the way that you want it to be interpreted, which is just a choice, all the energy stuff takes care of itself. The vibration shifts. All that stuff happens. You don't even have to think about vibration. The people who are attracting effortless lives and you know, all of these things, these people who maybe you want to aspire to be, they may or may not have a clue about the law of attraction. The law of attraction, knowing it in the way that it's being taught out there, you don't have to do that to be successful and have joy and love and a happiness and abundance, all of those things. And it has kind of mucked up the works, turning it into like a process. And this is what the personal development industry has done, is taken this truth. I never even got to it. My point is, for us to even have an experience of reality, okay, we have to do that interpretation. But that means that all of this energy is going to, atoms are going to come together in a certain way, in a certain configuration, so that we can experience them. They're coming together to form our body, they're coming together to form our thoughts, and our thoughts are definitely directing things on an atomic level. So what I call the law of attraction, so there's rules around how energy behaves. Okay? It's either attracting or it's repelling. It's either coming together and doing something, or it's going apart and going somewhere where it is attracted. That's what the law of attraction, it just describes how does the energy work. Forget the personal development aspect. Forget about how do we as humans get to follow our dreams or passions. Forget any of that. It's independent of that. It has nothing to do with that. We can utilize the information. We can utilize what the fact that there are rules about how this energy comes together, and that intelligence that allows that, the intelligence that created this whole of everything, our ability to have this experience as physical, and have our range of emotions from happiness to sadness and prosperity to abundance and everything in between. It's a freaking miracle. But it's all energy. And where we decide what our experience comes down to is all in our heads. And so once we understand that, then we're ready to start to understand the vibration conversation. So it just doesn't seem so magical anymore. Because so many people come into this conversation with a whole layer of skepticism because it seems too magical. Is this making sense? I'm reading, I'm catching up, obviously. I've been yammering. So anyway, yeah, that's my basic point is when one of the first tenet basically of making the law of attraction work for you, if you want to use that terminology, is to be very clear on what your vision is and who you're going to be in that vision. And when you do that, when you start to define who you are, then you will be able to recognize where are you not being that, what things do you need to change, how do you need to interpret things differently, what interpretation are you hanging on to, because interpretation and belief can be synonymous. What interpretation are you hanging on to that is keeping you from taking the action you need to take to get where you want to go? And then when you can become aware of that and then use these tools, because again, those interpretations, all that wiring, it's all energy, and we have tools, release tools, things like EFT, Sedona method, one called PS Tech, and several others that can help us get in there and break up that energy and basically take back control over that wiring or that conversation or those interpretations that have been limiting to us. So any questions about the law of attraction? Let's see. Yeah, the only actual question we got was about the $1 billion. So let me address that on a different level. So let's just say, how do you attract anything, right? So now we've gone all the way up to that. So this is where a lot of people start in the conversation. Okay, we got to get clear on your emotions, you get clear on all of that, But it still feels magical to them because they haven't looked at what leads up to that. Boy, I hope I'm communicating this better than I think I am. But if there's something in your life that you want, and that the reason I called you out on the $1 billion thing is because, I'd love to, that's great. There's nothing wrong with wanting it. I just want to know from a coaching, how do I coach you to there? What is currently stopping you from being in alignment with $1 billion or whatever it is you want to attract? What do you see as standing in between you? And then in that, we can identify the limiting beliefs / interpretations that need to change in order for you to be in more vibrational alignment with having $1 billion, because then we can talk about the energy conversation. When you have all these interpretations that are not in alignment with this idea of having $1 billion, that creates a whole cluster of energetic events. You cannot attract clusters of energy that you are basically, not in alignment with. So you're resisting it. You're just not in alignment with it. By the way, it's not even good or bad or positive or negative. It's just like not in alignment. You can't carry all these interpretations that money's hard to come by or rich people, blah, 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 and be in alignment with having $1 billion. So we have to identify all of those things. That's why I'm saying that this process, guys, it involves so much more than just reading a book or watching a movie and going, okay, I'm going to make a vision board. It's still amazing. It's still some of the most important information you can learn. Maybe it's not as you'd like it to be, but you can learn to speed it up. But you've got to be willing to sort of let go of magical thinking, which isn't, but the thing is, guys, the truth is magical enough. The way that it works is extraordinary enough. Plus, it's logical if you just look at it that way. And the fact that you don't have to understand all the quantum physics of it and all that stuff. That's just your ego saying, satisfy me, satisfy me, satisfy me. You can bypass all of that. Let's see. Marion says, how long do you keep the intention in mind until you manifest it? Yeah, well, it's not about obsessing over it, right? Because that becomes burdensome. And we don't want any energy around burden around this at all. It's just like, think about the good things you have in your life right now. Your dogs, right? You don't think about the intention of having dogs all the time. You have them and you know it, right? You're not sitting there trying to daily go, oh my God, I got to hold the intention of having these dogs. That would be exhausting. So you have the intention, and it just becomes a part of your vibration. It just becomes a part of your unconsciousness. It's just part of who you are. It starts with conscious, but you don't want it to become like a burden. Let's see. A YouTube question. Hooray. Although, why didn't I see it? Oh, I did see it. I've got so many right now. Sorry. Yeah, does it take longer for the bigger things? See, here's the thing. Big, small, that's all your interpretation. But, I mean, I know that the reason you have that interpretation is because a lot of people agree that, for example, $1 billion is a lot more money, a lot, quote unquote, harder to come by than $5. Right? But if we've got that belief system, if we've got, regardless of how we got it or how logical it seems, if we have that belief system that it's hard or that that's big or small, then that's the vibration we're going to have around it, and that's that much more resistance we have to having it come to us. So we need to get rid of the big small thing and remember that we're just interpreting this ocean of energy, which literally at a quantum level has no size. It's just empty space. We interpret big, small. That should be harder than this. Why? Well, because it was harder for that person. Oh, okay. I'm sold. So it is not any more difficult for the universe to move you into alignment with whatever you consider big or small. It's up to you, though, to be in that alignment so that you can attract that energy that is in alignment with you having the experience that you want to have. Let's see. Miss D says, I can't seem to change my reality into what I truly desire. I get frustrated because I'm impatient and go back to my old thought patterns that no longer serve me. How do we keep momentum going? Your ego has a timeline, and it's like yesterday. You know, it's all ego.
That was ego.
It needs to happen this much, or this stuff isn't true. Or this fast, or this stuff isn't true. And so you immediately have a vibration of it's not here. It's taking too long. You immediately have that because the ego has implanted that into your head. You're now testing yourself. You're putting yourself in some sort of test, and that will never serve you. And so what happens is the law of attraction works more effortlessly when you can completely let go of timelines. But your ego doesn't want you to do that. No, you need that money now. But because of that, what you're focused on the need of it, which is the absence of it, and that's what you're in alignment with. Hey, Music Heals, can you elaborate on this? Self-doubt sucks because I don't have experience in business. I was working in an office. Just a little bit more details. Okay, well, just how to visualize your goal. Okay, so that seems like such a basic question at the beginning. How to visualize your goal? Well, you know. But I don't know. Are you asking because you don't even know what your goal is, or you just want some techniques? I guess I do need to know that. Okay, Steve. Oh, I see. I was going to say, why are you asking this question? You know my position on this. I'm not going to do my full-on answer to this question only because I've got videos all over the place on this topic already. But is it possible to attract a particular person? Okay, and this really can go for anything, really. But a person this is a huge question I get asked all the time. And I'm going to just say, you can do a YouTube search on how to attract a specific person, and you're going to see mine and a lot of people who totally freaking disagree with me. And I'm fine with that. To me, trying to attract a specific person is all kinds of attachment. It doesn't allow for that person to have free will. It also when you're in that mindset, you bend your interpretations to make things true that aren't true. You create, they're this person, they're this, I know they're this, they're perfect for me, I know it, no one else could be like them, and you don't know it. You don't know it. But you know what does know it? The rest of the universe. So if you're saying to the universe and trying to attract a specific mate, what you should be going for is the qualities you want, how you want to feel. Because the reality is while that person right there might inspire those feelings in you now, The universe has information that you don't allow yourself access to right now, so you're attached, no, it must be this, and the universe goes, by the way, there's about 1 billion other ones that are better suited. You said you wanted to feel this. This person looks like this, but once you start moving in, well, guess what? You're going to learn this and this and this, and it's not what you want. You think it is. Trust the freaking process. When you attach to someone, again, you're saying, you're also in the space of, I don't have, I won't be happy till I have. So you're in the feeling of desperation or whatever it is you're feeling. It's got to be that one. That's not the vibration you want, folks. That's not going to attract that person. It's going to move you into action you don't want to take. You're going to compromise who you are to try to get... It's bad news. I know it's easier said than done because when you've got that person there that you know, then just trust the process. You don't have to try to... If it's meant, you're not going to have to try to make that happen. It's going to happen by you being who you are and them being who they are 100% authentically. The minute you start to change your behavior or project behavior onto them or interpretations around them that aren't true, that are totally your own projection, you're getting yourself into trouble. Just allow it to happen with the relationship stuff. It's just like anything else. You allow it to happen. You be clear on how you want to feel, who you're going to be in that experience of reality with that person in that relationship. That's all you need to do. As soon as you start feeling like, oh, it's got to be that person, you have jumped the rail and now you're trying to take control. And now you're going to be ego-driven and you're going to make decisions out of worry and fear and lack. Blah! You don't want to do it. And you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to find so many people who disagree with me. You can attract anything. It doesn't matter. And I'm not discounting that, but who of us haven't, well, who've been in this game for a while, haven't attracted something and said, oops, not exactly what I thought. You had attachment, you got the thing, but it wasn't what you thought. If you've done this long enough, it's happened to you, I promise. You can attract certain things. You might attract that specific person, fine. Strong arm your way into it and then see what happens. It shouldn't feel like an effort. Wow, if that had gone on one more second, that would have been too long. Many of you were going, it was too long, 1 second in. Just felt like I had to shake up the energy. We're getting kind of intense there, you know? You get talking about relationships and people get, you know, it's like, wait a minute now, this is love here we're talking about. And I do get it. How to visualize my goal. Well, since we're going back to that, if you're literally asking for techniques, I mean, there are many. You can close your eyes and just imagine it. One of my favorite ways is if you know what your goal is and you're really stuck on this whole how conversation, how did this happen, how am I going to do it, how am I going to do it, we really need to move you into the feeling of it's already been done. It's already been done. So an exercise that I love to give to people is to pretend, to pretend like you're being interviewed about your success. It's already happened, and now someone who is in awe of your accomplishments is interviewing you about your success. They want to know everything about what changed for you. What was your thought process? What happened? How did it go? Were there challenges? How did you get through those challenges? And then you just make it up. You just make up the answers. Just make it up. Do not try to figure anything out. Just play like a kid. You can talk about all the miraculous things that happen. Don't worry about it. Just make it up. And enjoy the crap out of the feeling that you get, because that's exactly what you're trying to do, is generate that feeling. That's what's going to attract the circumstances that make that feeling happen. So it doesn't matter what wordplay you use or how much you're using your imagination. It doesn't matter. You need to create that vibration so that that experience can align with you. I don't know why I went off in that weird accent. Align with you. That's what you gotta do. You gotta align with it. Okay. You guys, I'm 5 minutes behind schedule. But that's how much I love you. Plus, I did talk a lot of nonsense at the beginning of this thing, so I felt like I owed it to you. All right, well, I am going to be on my merry way. Remember, you can click the link in the description, bobdoyleshow.com/LOA notify, and then you will be notified through Facebook Messenger whenever I go live with these things. I'm doing these every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time up until January 16th, at which point we'll take a little break because we'll be starting our next round of 90-day group coaching, which I will talk more about next week. I know you're begging me to talk about it now, but sorry, you're just going to have to wait till next. No, I'm sorry. I said next week.